Hades, the Shadow of Dominion, a chronicle of the silent throne. I. Prologue. The echo before darkness. Before the world breathed, before rivers carved the earth or stars opened their distant eyes, there was silence. An ancient, waiting silence. From this void came the children of Cronus, destined to shape creation. Among them was Hades, last born of the elder brothers, his first cry swallowed by shadow, as if the world knew he was meant to belong to it. Unlike Zeus, whose spirit crackled like lightning, or Poseidon, who roared like the rising sea, Hades entered existence with a deep and quiet gravity. His mind absorbed rather than erupted, his thoughts forming like stone layered over ages. Even before the first war, he watched the cruelty of the Titans and learned the truth no other god wished to see. Power without purpose decays into tyranny. When rebellion rose, he fought with a weapon no enemy could anticipate: invisibility. The helm forged by the Cyclopes erased him from sight, allowing him to move like a whisper between lives. Titans fell without ever glimpsing the hand that struck them down, yet his silent victories brought him no glory, only understanding. The unseen shapes fate more profoundly than the visible. And so when the war ended and the brothers divided the world, Hades did not resist the lot he drew. The sky burned for Zeus, the sea surged for Poseidon, but Hades received the unseen, the inevitable, the world below. He accepted it not as exile, but as truth, for the cosmos needed a keeper, a god strong enough to hold endings in his hands. The division of the cosmos. When Hades descended, the early world trembled. Roads did not yet cross the earth, nor had mortals risen to name the mountains, but beneath the ground stretched caverns without memory, rivers without origin, an endless tapestry waiting for order. From shadow, Hades forged his dominion. He shaped the rivers that govern the dead: Lethe, Styx, Acheron, Phlegethon, Cocytus, each flowing not as water, but as meaning. Styx became the oath even gods feared. Lethe became the mercy of forgetting. Acheron, the sorrow of dying. All rivers moved to his rhythm. His palace rose from obsidian and dusk, a fortress not meant to dazzle, but to endure. No light shone there unless he willed it. Yet the halls were not empty. They waited like deep soil for seeds of order. The first souls came wandering, frightened and unformed. Hades received them with patience, learning their fears, their regrets, their memories, bleeding like ink in water. He judged them with clarity, neither punishment nor pardon, only balance. From this truth, he created the judges of the dead, whose wisdom outlived their mortal bones. Thus was established the cycle. Mortals lived, died, descended, and were measured. And the god who once fought unseen now ruled the most honest realm of all. Yet even as his kingdom grew, Hades felt the shape of an absence within him. Not longing, but an echo. To rule the silent is to become silence. The king below. For ages uncounted, Hades shaped his empire beneath the world. He forged laws without cruelty, order without pride. Cerberus guarded the gates, Thanatos carried peaceful death with gentle hands, and Hypnos spread sleep across the earth. The underworld thrived, but it remained a world without joy. From his throne, Hades watched souls drift through Asphodel, where neither sorrow nor pleasure lived. Their monotony reflected his own. He was surrounded by countless beings, yet remained profoundly alone. He rose often to walk the banks of the Styx. When he gazed into its mirror, he saw not his reflection, but the unending procession of endings. Kings and beggars alike stripped to equal shadow. Their destinies weighed on him. Justice demanded impartiality, yet compassion stirred in him like a faint spark in a cavern. Above, the world changed. Seasons came, empires rose. Mortals prayed to gods whose names they feared or adored. Only Hades received no hymns. Mortals feared him too deeply to love him, yet needed him too desperately to ignore him. Death was truth, and truth seldom earns devotion. Still, he did not envy his brothers. Zeus ruled in thunder, Poseidon in storms, Hades ruled in inevitability. But even inevitability, when born alone, becomes a burden. In his quiet dominion, the god of the dead felt something stir, a curiosity faint as a heartbeat in the stone. What would it be to stand in sunlight, to feel warmth again? The world above had forgotten him, yet he had forgotten nothing. The silence of the dead, mime unfurled like a slow tide. Mortals live brief but brilliant lives above him, unaware of the god who ensured their endings would not dissolve into chaos. Hades watched them from cracks in the earth, seeing their triumphs, their failures, their fleeting joys. He saw parents bury children, lovers mourn lovers, kings crumble under the weight of ambition, and he saw how mortals cherished life because it ended. He found himself moved, not by their fear, but by their resilience. Yet whenever he walked through Asphodel or observed the pale, drifting souls, he felt the weight of eternity settle heavier. Immortality, he realized, is not a gift, it is a task, and he alone bore its most profound responsibility. One day, amid his wandering through his realm, he heard something strange, faint as a tremor through the stone, delicate as a song half remembered. It was not the cry of the dead, nor the rumble of the rivers. It was life, a voice of warmth, laughter, bloom, a presence that did not belong in darkness. He did not yet know her name, but the underworld shifted, as if anticipating her arrival. The bloom of the underworld spring crowned the mortal world when Hades first beheld Persephone, daughter of Demeter, maiden of renewal, and the very embodiment of life's rebirth. She wandered a meadow, bright with flowers, sunlight woven in her hair. Her laughter stirred the wind. Hades saw her and felt something he had forgotten. Awe. He rose to the surface, not as shadow, but as himself. The earth stilled beneath him. Persephone turned, startled yet unafraid. There was no terror in her eyes, only curiosity. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am the keeper of what all things become," he answered. "Yet in your presence I remember what all things begin as." The world trembled at his words, but Persephone did not flee. And when she stepped toward him, choosing curiosity over fear, the earth opened, and together they descended into the realm of shadow. In the underworld, her presence was transformation. Asphodel brightened, gentle blossoms emerged in cracks of stone. The dead stirred, feeling not joy but warmth, a warmth they had forgotten. Even Cerberus bowed his head as she passed. She brought light, not to banish darkness, but to coexist with it. Hades watched her move through his realm with grace, tending to those beyond life. She spoke to the forgotten, offered comfort to the lost, and brought gentle equilibrium to the stern justice he had built. For the first time, the underworld felt like a home rather than a duty. But the world above wept. Demeter mourned her daughter, and the earth grew barren. Zeus intervened, forging the decree that shaped the seasons. Persephone would spend half the year above, half below. Hades accepted it. Love, he realized, was not possession. It was return. When she left, his realm dimmed once more, but he endured, knowing she would come again, bringing spring even to the land of the dead. 6. Epilogue. The stillness, eternal ages passed, and the cycle endured. The world above celebrated spring and mourned winter. Mortals told tales of Hades as tyrant or thief, not knowing the truth, that he had released the one joy of his eternity so the earth could thrive. In his throne room, Hades sat not as a conqueror, but as a witness. Souls came and went, judged fairly, held gently in the architecture of his kingdom. He did not resent the fear mortals held for him. Fear was the price of truth, and truth was his domain. When Persephone returned each year, she brought renewal to his heart as surely as she brought spring to the world. They walked the banks of Styx, speaking of mortals, gods, and the fragile balance between them. Mortals cherish life because it ends, she reminded him, and I keep the ending so their cherishing has meaning. He replied, Zeus ruled the sky, Poseidon ruled the sea, Hades ruled the boundary, the one thing no god could escape, no mortal could deny. His dominion was not thunder or tempest, it was stillness, completion, the final measure of all things. He looked upon his kingdom, vast, somber, eternal, and felt no sorrow. Instead, he felt purpose. For every beginning needs a keeper, every story needs a final line, every breath a final silence, and in that silence, Hades reigned forever.